My name is Jeaniq Amihyia. I'm a films and commercials director, and I run a production company called The Starting Seven. I'm here as part of We Are Social's Black Perspective series. What first drew you into photography and directing? So when I was younger, my mum worked a lot in the hair and makeup industry, and she used to always bring me along. And I'd always liked the idea of taking photos. And I remember the first time I saw this guy with a massive, well, to me at that time it looked like a massive camera, but it was just a standard DSLR. And I remember seeing it and thinking, this looks sick, I'd love to do this. And I remember he let me use the camera for a bit, and I remember asking how much does this cost? And he was like, it's quite a lot of money. And I just remember just snapping, just doing a couple of demo shots and thinking, I want to do this. Tell us more about your experience entering the creative industry as a young black filmmaker and photographer. So growing up, my mum always told me that I'd always have to work twice as hard to get to where I wanted to get and get the recognition that I wanted. I think in this industry, it is predominantly white. There's been a lot of examples of slight microaggressions. I think it was a constant battle at first because I started off by doing music videos first. And I really enjoyed doing music videos, but I think I was always pushed to do a lot of rap and a lot of drill stuff, which was fine at first because I really liked it. But then I think as part of being a director is that you want to diversify and grow with what you want to do. So for me, it was a constant battle of me saying, no, I don't want to do this. And it's interesting because it's the thing where you can get easily frustrated by it. You can always think why am I always getting these types of jobs? Why is it that I have to keep telling these stories when there's more? In most cases, it ended up with me not getting certain jobs and not getting certain projects, but I feel like I'd rather stick to my guns and take the long route rather than taking a shortcut and just putting myself into a box. What advice would you give to aspiring young black creatives looking to break into the industry? One of the main things I'd say is to surround yourself with like-minded people and creatives. There was an example of last year where a lot of us were kind of struggling with work, and we all, I think as a creative, you feel alone in your pursuit, and you always feel because it's just you working, trying to get all of these jobs, you often feel that if you're not getting work, it's down to you not being a good creative. And I think even I felt like that at one point. And I remember a bunch of us, we all met up at my friend's studio, and we're all directors, photographers, a whole bunch of us. And we sat there for a while, and we were just going through, we were just look, it's been tough this year. There's been no work. And people were saying to me gee, we thought you were booked out. And I was I was busy, but it wasn't as busy because it kind of lets you feel look, I'm not alone in this. Everyone else is dealing with this. So as long as I can speak to people about it, it makes it just a little bit better. What have been your career highlights so far? So in 2023, I like to think of it as the big three, because I had 3 major things happen. One of them was me being inducted into the 2023 Forbes under 30 list. I also directed my first advert/cinema commercial with BAFTA, and I done a TED Talk, which was insane because I hate talking in front of people. Another career highlight for me was me shooting a documentary for Top Boy, and I'd basically grown up watching this show when I was younger. So for me to get invited to direct a commercial showing the rebirth of how Drake came and revitalized the show was insane. And it meant that I got to spend almost a year on set seeing how all of it was put together. One of the best things about my job is that I get to create content the way I want to create it. And I have creative freedom in most cases to tell the stories that I want to tell. What changes do you think still need to happen in the creative and film industries to improve representation? It's again, not being afraid to speak up and almost rock the boat a bit. Because at the end of the day, you're not sinking it, you're just rocking the boat. So there's nothing really bad that's going to happen from that. I think one of the main examples was with BAFTA. I got selected to shoot one of their commercials, and the whole ethos behind it was that talent was everywhere, but opportunity wasn't. They wanted to put forward a list of actors to be one of the main roles, and they basically sent me a list, and it was basically a list of all of these white actors. And I remember I was speaking to my producer at the time, Tony, and I'd said to him, I was Tony, look, these are great names, but I don't feel this is representative of what I want to show, because at the end of the day, I want people that look like me to see another black person on screen and think, I can do that, rather than seeing the same status quo. Because it's great, like most of these actors, they were like amazing actors, but I just didn't feel it resonated with me. So I remember I spoke to him and I was like, look, Tony, I'm gonna tell them that, look, it can't be this way. And he was like, listen, I'll be behind you, like whatever you want to do, like I'll back you or whatever. And I was in a Zoom call and it was like, I think there was like 10 people in the call. And I remember I was sat there and they'd sent me the list. They were like, look, we've got this person, this person, this person. And I was sat there thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to tell these guys. And I remember I looked over in the Zoom call and I could see my producer just waiting for me. And they'd sent the list through and they're like, so what do you think, Jeaniq? And I was like, look guys, this is great, but it doesn't make sense to me. There just being another white male on screen. Needs to be someone of color. It can't go this way, because at the end of the day, it's not me staying true to myself and my work by not doing it this way. So I basically said that to them and there was like a little like a 5-second moment of silence, and then they were like, great, like it's fine. I was nervous about having that whole discussion and it was all building up, but as soon as I said it, they were fine with it. And I think that's what a lot of people, they're often afraid of speaking up about stuff with a fear of not getting the job, or them saying, don't worry, we'll go with someone else. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'd rather do it. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least I know that I stuck to my guns. Tell us about the starting 7. Ooh. I think initially I done a lot of work where it would be through an agency and a brand. And basically the agency would be the middle person. And I think for a while we found that a lot of us found that we were getting shortchanged a lot. So like we'd be getting pitched for like these massive jobs, and then we'd be getting like a quarter of like the pay and fee that we could get. And I think that amongst a lot of us, we were just like, look, like can't we just do this by ourselves? So I set up Starting 7. It's more a thing of me creating stories that will resonate with people and allowing younger people to be able to create those stories as well. So I think with Starting 7, it's just about building that sort of legacy. And the idea was that if any of my friends had projects they wanted to do, number one, they could do it through Starting 7. All it is, we just like cover production fee and we'd be able to do it. And I had a lot of direct links to brand contacts myself. So I thought to myself, instead of going through a middleman, I can go direct to these clients and say, look, come directly to us and we can create content that we feel proud of, we have full control over, and that you'd be happy with as well. What mantra do you live by? So when I was in, I think it started from year 9. So I was in business studies, and one of the teachers, they were telling us about these motivational methods, and one of them was Kaizen. Basically, Kaizen translates to continuous improvement, and it's what businesses use to get their workers to continuously try and improve in their day-to-day work. So I think I'd seen that phrase and I don't know, it was almost like I was fascinated by it. It kind of stuck with me. It even became like my nickname on like Facebook. So it was like Jeaniq Amihyia. It just always stuck to me because I think with my work, it was like I wanted to make sure I was continuously improving, and it wasn't just a sense of me like improving the quality and stuff, but it's like if I can do 1% every day and continuously get better, that's enough for me. So I think I've just kind of held on to it throughout all of my work, and even in like my personal life, even if it's like the way that I socialize with my friends, I try and embody it into every aspect of my life. How do you stay motivated and committed when you have creative blocks? Another thing that my mom would tell us to do is that she would say every month, write down your like the achievements that you've done, no matter how big or small. And I would literally put into my notes app on my phone like all the cool stuff I've done. So whenever there was like periods where like work was really low, or I was feeling like a bit like, I feel so like rubbish with like life right now, I'd look at it and I'd just go through the achievements, and seeing that was enough to keep me motivated, because I would see all these things that I'd done the previous month and be like, look, if I can do this in this month, what stopped me from doing even more than this the next month? It's nothing like extravagant. It's just noting down just your personal achievements and just being able to look back on it. Because I think, especially being a creative, we get so caught up in trying to get work and put out content like 100% in films like all the time that we kind of forget all the cool stuff that we've done before. So I think a lot of people should do that more. You should note down a lot more of your achievements, and you'll be surprised. I think reading through it, you realize I've done a lot more than I've expected. But when you're in that moment, you're just thinking, is it enough? Do I need to do more? But yeah, I think noting down your achievements every year is really good. If you could have one wish come true, what would it be? To direct a Marvel film. That would be, I think that's my, it's something I've just always had in my head, and it's like, I would love to direct like a Marvel film. Like, I don't know what Marvel film, I don't know who it's going to be, but I just think that would be insane. Like when I was younger, a lot of the targets and the dreams I had, I kind of hit most of them by 25, and I kind of got to a point where I was like, what more can I do? Because I feel like I always had this as like, look, I want to shoot adverts, I want to shoot the music videos for my favorite artists, I want to see myself on TV, I want to see it like in shop windows and stuff. And I think it all happened a bit quicker than I expected, and I'd always had this idea like, I want to make a film, and I was like, I want to do a Marvel film. So I think that's my target, a Marvel film.